Tonight, the investigation is just beginning after a parking structure at a local apartment complex collapsed. Video from Sky I2 shows at least 10 cars stranded, with others teetering on the edge. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Ken Rice. There are no known injuries, and that appears to be very lucky. Let's get right to Jennifer Barrasso. She's been following the developments in Penn Hills all night. Jen.
Well, just a minute ago, Penn Hills Fire Marshal confirms that a search and rescue team, they checked underneath that parking lot collapse, and he's confirming to me that they didn't find anyone underneath that parking lot. So that is the good news. He also tells me that the apartment buildings have been condemned. But the big questions tonight, why and how did this happen?
Super afraid. I just closed my eyes, hoped that they would open again. Once we was down there, if everything was all right.
Alex Bowens was in her car when the parking garage outside her apartment building along Frankstown Road in Penn Hills collapsed.
And I just held on until it was done collapsing. And then when I opened my eyes, I looked around and I realized that the parking lot collapsed. And I just waited for someone to come and get me because I didn't want to step out and then fall some more.
Amazingly, she wasn't hurt. A police officer helped her get out.
But I'm blessed, it could have been worse.
Bowen's neighbor tells me police and firefighters banged on apartment doors, making sure everyone left the building. He said his two cars appear to have some damage.
I ran to the main exit door and I saw that the whole parking lot had actually caved in. And I was looking down, all the way down, and there were my two cars and other neighbors' cars. I was in shock. It's surprising to see that happen.
The Penn Hills police chief says at least a dozen vehicles fell about 15 feet. At this point, there are no reports of injuries. Search and rescue crews are checking to make sure no one was underneath the parking garage, which was used as a storage area.
It just looks like a structural collapse down the middle of that parking lot. It's bent in, so right now we're still working to make sure there's nobody underneath. It's old. That's all I can say. That's my guess by looking at it.
Meantime, the gas and utilities are shut off. The shopping plaza behind the apartment building is closed because of structural concerns. The Port Authority and the Red Cross are responding, helping the displaced residents.
We're going to have the building checked to make sure that it's structurally safe. I can imagine for the evening there's not going to be anybody allowed to stay in the apartments.
And I'm told about 50 people live in these apartments in Penn Hills. The fire marshal telling me that a structural engineer is on scene and that Penn Hills shopping center will not be affected tomorrow for business. But one thing, Ken, people are telling me they are just so thankful that no one was injured in this. Reporting live, Jennifer Barrasso, KDKA News.